Good afternoon, I'm Dr. Magic. Welcome to another Dr. Magic Deck Tech. I'm sitting here with Eric Rodriguez, and laid out in front of us is his Black and White Allies deck in the new post-Battle for Zendikar standard. Eric, welcome. Thanks for stopping by and showing us your deck.
Thank you for having me.
Why don't you, Black White Allies? We've seen Allies before in Magic, but kind of came back with Battle for Zendikar. What made you choose to do Allies in this set?
Well, I took a break from Standard for a while, so when I came back for Battle for Zendikar, I wanted to make a deck off of something that came with that release. So I saw Allies, Tribal, I saw Opportunity, so I went straight forward with it.
Awesome, and you've chosen to go strictly Black and White. I've seen some other people splash, but you feel the Black and White gives you the most streamlined version?
Yeah, I haven't seen anything for Battle Zendikar really that stands out. A lot of people recommended Red, but I don't know, I just feel you're the Black and White right now. Unless they come out with some ally that gives everybody haste, then heck yeah.
Okay.
Throw in Mardu. But as of now, leave it Black White. The lose a life, gain a life mechanic, and all the allies work well with each other. So a lot of people like to use green, but prefer two colors.
Well, let's talk about the creatures that you've chosen. We've got 4 Expedition Envoys, 4 Serene Stewards, 4 Lantern Scouts, 4 Kalastria Healers, 4 Zulaport Cutthroats, and 3 Dranas. So outside of them being allies, which obviously fits the theme, what are the all-stars here? What are you trying to hope you have in your opening hand, and what are you looking to combo off here?
The healers is a big one, and the cutthroats, lose a life, gain a life. That puts you at a good start in the beginning.
Okay.
The expedition is a good one-drop, because there's some other cards that work off with it with sacrificing, but we get to that later.
Okay.
The Serene Steward, it gives me +1/+1 counters when I gain life, give someone some counters, buff them up a bit, and of course, Drana. Drana's Drana.
Drana's just good.
And the scouts give lifelink, which makes the more lifelink present with the gain life, lose a life, swing, gain more life.
Gotcha. So I got a Lantern Scout and a Serene Steward and a healer out. I play an Expedition Envoy. Triggers my they lose a life, I gain a life. You pay 1. You put that counter on one of your other guys. Now he has lifelink. You swing. You do it again. Your guys just get incrementally bigger.
Exactly. And then if I chump block right there, cuts Cutthroat, lose a life, gain a life. So everyone has a use somehow with the whole entire allies thing.
Good synergy, good synergy. Yeah. And we've chosen 2 Planeswalkers. We've Sorin and Gideon. Why those Planeswalkers, and why just 2?
Well, the Sorin works well with all the lifelink, +1, gives everyone a little boost.
Sure.
Lifelink, if you need a flyer, get a 2/2 out there. Of course, you can't go wrong with the emblem. The Gideon, a lot of deck techs online, I've seen that people run 1, but I think that's a mistake, because if you have 2, they're sitting in your hand, lay Gideon down, use the emblem effect, have the +1/+1, next turn lay the Gideon out. So
sure.
You have the emblem, and now you have your second Gideon if it's stuck both in your hand at the same time.
Gotcha.
So it's good to keep more than 1. I'm just going with 2 for now for a little bit testing. Might increase that, but we'll see.
And the emblems do stack, so if you find yourself facing down somebody who's got some bigger creatures, you can put a couple emblems out and trade a little better. Well, great. This stuff looks like it fits the deck really well. Let's move on to the spells and talk about how they complement the creatures. Alright, so we've moved on to the spells. Let's talk about the spells. You've got some removal first. What do you got here?
Got Utter End, we got the Stance, of course, and my friend Nate Hemingway, got to give a shout out for recommending the Stasis Snare, because they really came clutch in Nephilim's.
Yeah, not a lot of exile in the current standard. Stasis Snare being one of those. Stasis Snare, exiling those hangerback walkers. They make you get rid of the enchantment later. Well, it comes back as a 0/0 and dies anyway. Valorous Stance, obviously, just a great, versatile card. Takes out those big guys.
Indestructible.
Yeah, and I would think that Utter End finds you good. Finds a lot of good targets. What about Altar's Reap? I mean, you're kind of a creature-based deck, and you're sacrificing your own dudes.
Well, late game, sometimes the 1-drop is kind of worthless unless you put counters on them.
Okay.
So they have some use. You can actually sacrifice them and draw 2 cards. So it works for me. And sometimes I go draw something like a March of the Tomb, a game winner with Altar's Reap. So
Yeah, nice that it's instant too, so you can do it in response to a kill spell or in response to blocks. some good tech there. And let's talk about March of the Tomb. This is a card that outside of Ally decks probably isn't going to get a lot of play, but a black and white 3 colorless, return any number of target ally cards with total converted mana cost 8 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. That just seems really good.
Yeah, and especially if you get all your healers in, that's a ton of life they're going to be losing, you gaining. If you have all your allies in your graveyard because you got a board wipe, you put them all out right there. It's a game changer.
Rebuild the team, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, and I think Drana would figure into that 8 as well. Well, great. So there's our spells and our removal packages. Let's talk about the land base. Okay, Eric, the basis for any deck is the mana and how we get it to go. Looks like 5 basic swamps, 7 basic plains. Pretty basic. I did notice no evolving wild, so you lose a few points for that. But you've made some other choices. 2 Mortuary Mire. Yet another way for you to recur your guys. Shambling Vent. Shambling Vent seems like a winner. Is that something you're just trying out, want to get some more of, or have you found one to be optimal?
One's optimal, but also it triggers Serene Steward. So if I swing with him, gain lifelink, pay 1, put a counter on someone.
Okay.
So if only Serene Steward's on the field, I could swing with him, gain lifelink, put the counter on Serene Steward. So bump him up a little bit. So 1's enough for the deck. It's working so far. But the highlight of this deck is the Ally Encampment.
Sure.
Yeah, you can bring someone back from the graveyard, add 1 mana to bring in an ally, and there's so many allies in the deck, so pretty much any color. And then 1 colorless to help out with spells.
Well, running in black and white, it's one of the the color combinations right now that doesn't have any fetches, unless you're trying to go off color just to thin out the deck. But having Ally Encampment, and some degree Shambling Vent, kind of gives you a duel. Those things, and obviously continue to recur your allies.
Then you have the Caves.
Seems really great.
If I lose 1, gain 1, it doesn't really hurt me in the long run for losing 1 life.
Sure. Anything you want to add here or change now that you've gotten a chance to play it a little bit, or you think you're pretty much optimized here?
Just need to check my math with my mana because I changed a few cards in recently.
Okay.
But besides that, depending how the Shambling Vent works in the next FNM, might add 1, see how that works. Encampments are staying; they're the highlight of the mana base so far.
And what's the when you have how many lands do you need on the field to feel real comfortable about casting your spells?
Honestly, I won games with just 2 or 3 mana. I don't need that much to win this because all the allies work off each other. So every turn if I draw ally, if I lay down an ally, something's happening on the board, and usually my opponent is the one hurting. So
sure, if you're not drawing land, you're drawing gas.
Yeah,
that seems good. That seems good. Now you've gotten a chance to play this at an FNM and do a little testing. I think the deck looks solid. I think it's sweet. It's definitely tier 1 in the Midwest. My question is, what decks have you found that you have a bad matchup against, and what have you found that's been a good matchup for you?
Well, pretty much I've been playing so many different types of decks because we're at a weird point with the things rotating.
Sure, yeah,
now.
everything's really...
and so a lot of control I'm having problems with.
Okay.
And pretty much that's it right now. I haven't had bad matchups because I've been pretty successful. I played a lot of people who was running Eldrazi's, but really I just run removal and get rid of them, or anyone's giving me too big of a problem. So really, I'm not too clear who's going to be the worst matchup for me as of yet, but in a few FNMs I'll start seeing the flaws and start adjusting it from there.
Sure, I like that a lot of decks into the side, are looking at trying to bring in some, life gain, life stability so they can sustain themselves, early on against those early beat decks, the mono reds and the Artarkas reds. You kind of have that stuff built in, so you don't have to worry about sideboard. And control decks. Control decks may be where you find the Shambling Vent really is a star. Can't counter a land. So, well, this is great, Eric. I really appreciate you sitting down with us and taking the time to show us your deck here. This has been Dr. Magic with another Deck Tech. We hope that you'll join us this Friday for Friday Night Magic. See Eric's deck and more in action at Pops starting at 6 o'clock.